Thank you for staying tuned to Radio Maria 91.3 FM, still on Life Essential Talk, discussing do not be overly critical of your children with my special guest, a seasoned educationist, Mrs. Claire Ounayo. Mrs. Claire, I haven't said all this. I would like you to throw more light on why you think parents, oh no, let's still take it this way. Throw more light on do not be overly critical of your children. Tell us more about it.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to look at this by looking at some key words in the topic, do not be overly critical of your children. So I'm going to start with parents. Parenthood is a calling. It's a divine assignment. That means that a father or mother is a caregiver, a caretaker. And this father or mother can be a biological parent or a parent by association. The parent nurtures, the parent trains, the parent loves, the parent likes, because I always say there's a difference between loving and liking, and the parent is a good example to the children. Now that we've seen who a parent is, I would like to go on to children. The scientists will tell us that a child is a young human being who is below the age of puberty. That means that child is not yet a teenager. I would like to go beyond that. Due apologies to whoever feels offended at this stage. I would like to add that in addition to the young human who is below the age of puberty, I would like to add the adolescent. That's the teenager who is maturing into adulthood, and the adult, because we know we are Africans. Parents never stop being parents. A child never stops being a child, whether it's a biological child or a child that you have adopted along the way by association or formally adopted. You remain a parent and that child remains a child. Now I'm going to look at criticism. I got 3 definitions of criticism that I like, but I like 2 more because the first one does not really agree with my view about criticism. So the first one is the act of saying that something or someone is bad, which is the general view we have when we hear criticism. But I would like to disagree with this view. So I'm going to go on to a second definition, which is the act of giving one's opinion or judgment about the good or bad qualities of something or someone. Now this falls more with my in line with my thinking, because criticism can be constructive, it can be destructive, it can be negative, it can be positive, and all the other adjectives that we can use to describe criticism. And then there's a third definition to which I like even more. It says careful discussion of something in order to judge its quality or explain its meaning. So this means that criticism is not always bad, and criticism is not always for destruction. Criticism should make somebody better. It shouldn't mar us, it should make us much better than we have been before the criticism. And then I'm going to look at the word overly, which has synonyms like excessively and unduly. So in a nutshell, what we're discussing here this evening is that we should not be unduly critical of our children. I use because I'm speaking talking to myself as well. So where I say put yourself there as well, so that we'll be communicating. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Oh, you have given us a breakdown, giving us specific definitions of this word. I'm sure that our listeners out there are fully aware of what we are trying to talk about here, which is do not be overly critical of your children. That is, you shouldn't excessively criticize your children. So, you said criticism is not all about saying something bad. It's not all about negativity, right? But when we overly criticize, it's negative. Do you agree with that? It's negative.
I do.
So
very much.
now, why do you think parents excessively, overly criticize their children?
Well, I'd say first of all that it's human nature to we don't see it as overdoing anything. All we're doing is correcting our children. And I'm going to say there's a favorite saying I like. I learned it as a child. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
That's very popular.
I've discovered in my life that this is very true. That it's unlikely that when you lead a child in the right direction, that child will turn too much away from it. If the child happens to turn, as long as that initial step remains in his memory, one day that child will come back to the right path. Now, parents tend to overly criticize children because they want to protect those children, and they want to prevent them from making mistakes. Sometimes they may even be the same mistakes that parents made themselves. And they see, because they know themselves and they know the direction that led them to those mistakes, they're trying to ensure that my child will not make the same mistake I have made. Now, when we try to set our children in the right direction, it's for the good of the child, as I mentioned earlier. It's for the good of the family as a whole. It's for the good of our society. It even makes our world a better place for us to live in. Because if we all just let our children be the way the human nature dictates to them, to just follow whatever they feel like doing without guidance, without regulation, then it means that this world may become uncomfortable for even us ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. In fact, I think I'm guilty of one of the points you listed out, because I can remember sometimes when I talk to my children or one of my kids, I would say, see, I want you to be like this, I want you to do this, I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made when I was younger. So you see, and we talk and talk and talk, just like you say, so that we feel that when we talk so much, it will make them not to make the same mistakes that we made. But from what you said now, it's not really proper that way. But I think that is one of the reasons parents excessively criticize their children. Thank you so much. But I would like you also, because I know that anything excessive is not good at all. It's not. It brings forth negativity. Now, when you say parents do not excessively criticize your children, we're also trying to prevent certain bad things from happening to those children. So I want you to give us a deeper insight, or should I say deep insight, on how it affects the children.
Thank you very much. A child that is subject to excessive criticism begins to feel that he's not appreciated, and I use he here to refer to both the female and the male
yes, exactly.
child, begins to feel unappreciated. And the child feels that there is no value placed on me. I have no value. What does this lead to? The child loses his self-esteem, he loses his confidence, and then this translates into other things. Before we know it, we are saying, oh, this child is a rascal, but that's because the child has developed a thick skin in order to protect himself from the effects of the criticism, which he sees as undeserved, unwarranted, and not really based on whatever he may have done. He becomes disrespectful, he becomes a deviant. That's when you find children being truants, being troublemakers, just generally doing anything they can to just get some attention. That is what happens a lot of the time. And then, as time passes, you find that child becomes an easy prey for anyone who seems to pay even just the slightest attention to them. It may be their peers, it may be their seniors, it may be other adults, they may even be other members of the family, other members of your household. And if, care is not taken, if these people have negative intentions, then it means that child will indeed become what you are trying to prevent him from becoming by being overly critical. And this has led to different things, as I'm sure we have all seen that a lot of children who do not feel confident, who feel that they are not valued, who lack self-esteem, seek attention in different ways and seek satisfaction. They seek this value in different ways. And you find that they become sexually abused, most likely because somebody has told them, has given them more attention than the parents are giving them. That's when you find children becoming suicidal. They start entertaining thoughts of, what's the point of me being in this world? Nobody cares about me. I might as well just get rid of myself so that everybody will be happy. They are never confident, even as adults. You find that they may get married, but the relationships don't work with them at work. You find that they are affected even at work because of that foundation that they started with. So it is very important that we're careful. We're not saying don't criticize your child. Please, let's have that at the back of our mind. But we're saying that do it in a manner that does not send negative signals to the children.
Yes, and I want to add this too. It can even make the children to choose substance addiction, to make themselves feel happy, to feel the whole of never being good enough. And these children must be embraced with love and understanding. That is what most parents easily forget. They feel that when they excessively criticize, everything will fall into line. And most times it doesn't work out that way. Wow, truly interesting. I'm having a lovely time here, and I'm sure our listeners out there are enjoying themselves too. Well, you have heard it all from our beautiful mother here. Well, please stay tuned for more of this. Don't touch that dial.